got three houses. I got three houses. I got three more houses.
So I guess I was wondering maybe we should try rolling starts.
What does that mean?
So we imagine that now the podcast has already started.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's already listening.
Yeah. Cool.
And then we just kind of launch into talking about the video game for this week.
And we just keep on rolling. We don't want to say who we are, what we're doing, where we do it.
So clearly now we are in the podcast proper. It's happened. So then I would introduce you or me, and I would say I'm Louis.
And I'm Lochie. And this is 3HR. And this week
3HR.
we're playing.
We've got to get that right at one point.
Passpartout.
Passpartout.
What is it?
I believe it's Passpartout is his name.
Passpartout, the Starving
Artist, which is a PC game on the PC and Mac. I played it on a Mac.
Same.
This was my recommendation. Neither of us had played it, and it's a game that was on my wish list on Steam, and it's like £7, and I thought, you know what, I want a reason to play that. I think it's like 3 or 4 hours long, at least one playthrough. I'll suggest that. And why don't you kick it off, my friend Lochie?
All right, so let me lay down the foundations and give you some idea for anyone who doesn't know what it is.
Hit them all.
It's basically, you're a bloke who's got like a cucumber sort of head, and you're an artist, and you start off in a little shed, garage.
So one correction there. I would say he's more of an onion.
He was green though.
He's like a
dark green.
He's like a new onion.
No, he's like, imagine if you had a cucumber, cut out all the middle bit, and then just took the two ends and like stuck in the two like ends together. Like that's the head. Yeah. And then you're in a little garage and you paint paintings, and then you put them on display, and people come and buy these paintings.
They bid on
and
them.
Like them or don't like them. And to paint these paintings, you literally MS Paint.
Yeah, it's quite literally the most basic version of MS Paint possible.
Mm-hmm. And people will be like, ooh, I like this, or this is shit, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the basis of the game. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. So I'd heard about this game. I saw a slight playthrough of it and wanted to play it. Didn't play it until obviously you said play it. And I think it's, a kind of interesting game.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think obviously like what's most interesting about this game is just how everyone tackles it in their own way.
Did you do a whole playthrough?
No.
Did you manage to get through
I played 3 hours. And I think I just took a while on most of my paintings.
So the game is separated into, at least in my playthrough, 3 acts. Which act did you get to?
2.
Act 2. Do you feel like you were nearing the end of it, or you had no idea of it in sight?
Well,
it just kind of happened.
I think Act 1 took me so long.
Yeah, me too. Act 1 was a slog.
Yeah, so I just presumed 2 would be the same, but I guess not.
I think Act 1 and Act 3 were the longest for me. Act 2 was the shortest.
Okay.
So I feel really conflicted about this one. I think as like an idea and conceptually, I really, really like it. And I think maybe up until the beginning of Act 3, I was like all the way, I thought this game was fantastic. I loved it. I was getting like a real good sense of pleasure out of making these crappy paintings.
Yeah.
I think I spent a lot of my childhood playing with MS Paint, as I'm sure many people did.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to have that again. And it's like, it's sort of perversely satisfying to make a crappy painting, and then even if it's just a computer game telling you this, but for someone to be like, I'm gonna pay £500 for this. Like, it doesn't, like, obviously it has no subjective opinion on this work of art, which is one of the like bizarre things about it.
Yeah, like totally that's what this game, like my whole narrative of this game, like in the midsection of Act 1 towards the end, was all just like, my work started to become reactionary
Yeah.
to these like 4 characters that just say like the same 3 things.
Yeah. But it's like, man, I found that like really fascinating just at the start, like, because I was, most of my time playing this game was spent thinking about like how it was made, what the systems were that were judging these works of art.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as I said, like there's no way it has any subjective opinion on these things. So therefore, it must be making like logical calculations. And so I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so is it looking for like time spent?
I think that's definitely a big one.
Is it looking for the colors used?
I think that's also.
But then these things, like, so if it is looking for the colors used, is it looking for complementary colors? So, and then it just gets like, well, what the hell does this game want from me? What do these people want from me? You can like, so like take something like, you could distill it right to really simple, like, so complementary colors, I guess, would appeal to more sort of traditional, or if you like just like simple basic painting. Whereas maybe the game would think that if you were doing wacky colors that clashed, maybe it put that into like a more sort of postmodern kind of thing, or like more experimental art, or maybe it could be the other way around, or it's like you have no real idea of how.
So did you spend your time trying to figure out what the game was wanting from you to make a good painting, and then painting to match those?
So I felt hugely conflicted about that, because there was I found that at the start I was painting things that I liked the look of.
Like what? What sort of things were you painting?
So for me, immediately I was going for lots of just like simple block color stuff, because that's the easiest thing to do that looks nice. So like just kind of like I guess what you would call is like modern art. So a lot of the people that were walking around would probably call it like minimalist or just modern art, right? So it was just like blocks of color.
A lot, yeah, modernist.
And like just simple lines and stuff like that. But then I noticed that either people just wouldn't buy those outright, or they would pay very little. But I noticed that as soon as I started drawing people were paying way more money for people.
Right.
So like that, and it's funny because in the real world, if I had made those paintings of people, they would have been seen as like sort of impressionistic, because they're sort of blobs, and they're not like detailed outlines. They're like sort of just like colors to make these people, because that's the easiest way I could do that without making it look terrible.
Did you save any of your pictures?
Yeah, quite a few.
Okay, cool. Can we should look at each other's, and I don't know, obviously the people can't see them, but we can maybe talk about them.
But in the real world, this painting would have seemed it would have seemed like impressionistic, but in this world it seemed, I imagine, quite detailed and complex, especially because it definitely took me the most time to do. So people were paying, like, in the first level, where you're sort of a quote-unquote starving artist, you're, like, struggling to get by. People are paying, like 300, 400. I imagine it's euros, or maybe it's even francs, I don't know. But whatever the currency was, they're paying it. So at the start, I was, like, so basically the way it works, right, is you have to make money each month to pay off your rent. And I think also like baguettes. The game is obviously very stupid with that stuff. So it's like baguettes and wine and rent. And it's very cheap at the start because you're just living out of this garage. But I was struggling to make rent, and I was on my last month before I was going to be completely out of money.
Really?
And I was still painting these like very simple block paintings. But I knew that I had painted like 1 or 2 people before, and I knew that made money. So I was like, oh man, okay.
Fine, I'll do people.
So I painted a person, and then immediately that painting sold for like 500, which pays rent for like another 5 months or something crazy. And I was like, oh man. And so you immediately have like...
That's really funny.
It's funny how it definitely builds those conflicts. So you have like that like real world sense, but also at the same time, I'm spending a lot of my time trying to figure out what the game wants from me and trying to understand exactly what that is. And so there's like 3 different conflicts going on at all the same time. and that was really tasty.
Mm.
But then I only realized after the second act, I don't know about you, but I didn't realize that there were different types of people in the space. Did you notice that? Yeah, so that didn't occur to me.
You thought they were all like a single...
I just thought they were just like civilians. They were all just civilians, and they would all have different subjective tastes. But the way it works is you have like people, these sort of archetypes that are dressed in certain clothes, so you can tell them apart. At least this is how I think it works. It doesn't like outright ever say this, I don't think.
But then people do get bored of you and stuff. Like, so I was only like the start of my career. Benjamin bought all of my work. Benjamin,
Oh, really?
he loved everything I did. I made a piece called like Ben will buy this. Just wrote Ben will buy this on a canvas. Ben
That's
bought
funny.
it. Like, and then I got one thing, and he was part of some like, it was quoted as like a hipster society.
Yeah, sure.
And then it was like, they're now bored of you after this. And then he never came back.
Yeah, I remember getting the notification saying the hipsters are having a meeting to discuss whether or not you're cool or something like that. So I only really realized that you could be like appealing to certain groups with your art after like the second act, and I ended up on the third act. I ended up painting in like a sort of design studio for like wealthy, basically people that just wanted to sell my paintings to make more money.
Oh, okay.
Which was a real bummer, because like that's not really what I was looking for. That's not what I wanted for this guy's career, but it's where I ended up.
It's where I get every artist. I mean,
well,
it's just another career that branches off like art. You know, art trade is like, it's inevitable.
Yeah, but I guess I was hoping for more like, I don't know what I was hoping for, but not just like painting for the whims of people saying things like, oh, I can't sell this for any money. Like that was kind of a depressing outcome.
But at the same time, you think where that art's going. You know, they're still selling it to people with like an eventual end goal of people wanting that work.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just a middleman.
Yeah. I was surprised by how much like I just enjoyed making these crappy little paintings. I really liked the tool. I thought they made some really smart decisions. They don't let you undo.
Yeah.
Which is a really smart thing.
Yeah,
I thought.
Definitely.
Because it's like, it's annoying, but obviously there's something quite satisfying about like throwing out a canvas and starting again.
And it's like what paint is, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
To actually paint a piece. And I think also one thing that I'll just mention now. So you have your 2D image sort of canvas with all your paints, MS Paint style, taking up like a third of the screen. And then the rest of the screen is people coming and going into your gallery space, whatever it may be, in the different acts. And in the background, as you paint your piece, you see the little bloke also painting the piece, and that's so well done. The little comical
really
guy
really
painting the piece as you paint it, which is great.
Did you? So you unlock over time. You unlock 3 tools.
Yeah, there are only 3. I mean, the tools are rubbish. I never used any of them. Apart from I'd never touched the second 2.
Oh really? Once I got the third one, that's the only one I used.
Oh, one thing I should mention about this. So my journey playing this game, I started on PC and was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this painting that I've done. I want to keep it. Save the screenshot. I'm on a PC. I have no idea where this saved to. Fuck. Alright, I'm going to stop playing and instead play it on my Mac, which I just know how it works. And then I got to the Mac and I was like, okay, I need to find a mouse because I don't want to use the touchpad for this. So I was looking around for a mouse and then I saw my tablet and I was like, oh shit.
Did you use a tablet?
I'm going to use this. Yeah, so I just...
what? That's so
I
unfair.
used a tablet for the whole game.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you had like actually nice painting.
Yeah, I had some nice ones. I had some ones that I liked.
Well, I feel like you're breaking the whole fun there.
No way. Not
You're
at
breaking
all.
like you're breaking the limitation of the tool. Like the thing I at least I mean do whatever you want. I don't care. But like the thing I liked was have like that limitation obviously allowed for like more things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. You know, because I'm using a mouse, I'm like stuck with this mouse, so like everything gets simplified. Whereas before I would have just drawn the things I always draw.
Yeah, I mean, I was still very limited.
Right.
Like, I mean, I had like to be honest, if I'd not had a tablet, I think things would have looked pretty similar, but just the lines maybe a little less straight. Like, I think it just made things quicker and kind of fun. Just chance, because I never used that thing.
So the third tool, which is the one I used exclusively once I got it, I don't know how I'm going to describe it. Is there something it's similar to? Do you know that people can reference? Because it's basically it just allows you to draw smoother lines. So the paint that you're putting on the canvas is delayed, basically.
So you have like a marker point, and you'll drag it, and then the paint will... So you click down, drag it, and the paint will slowly go to that point, following the path of your marker.
That's a good way to describe
so
it.
you can sort of... If it starts going wrong, unclick, and it stops.
Yeah. So it's just a nice way of showing, I guess, Passpartout's development as a painter, because then all your paintings naturally look better than the ones you did at the start of the game, because all the lines are smoother and stuff, if you choose to do that.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really use them.
Yeah.
So in this game, for me, personally...
Hit me.
I started out doing beach scenes.
Mm-hmm.
All beach scenes. It was all just sand. There was a really nice, like, beige. And then I just did, like, this lapping water coming in. And the people loved them. Benjamin, more specifically, loved them. And I did some other stuff. And then I started getting into, like, these face ones. And I'll have to show you pictures to describe them. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Let's share screen.
Sure. I don't know. This might drive people crazy, but let's do it anyway.
I mean, we can just have to try and describe, or maybe on the YouTube video.
In a couple of months.
In a couple of months when that goes out, we'll show.
You can all enjoy. You can all come back and listen to this again.
Yeah. Okay. So you with me? You see it?
He's currently sharing his screen. I'm looking at his screen.
Okay. So this is sort of where I was starting at.
Oh, that's beautiful. He's done a very, very beautiful image of a beach here. So most of it is the sea, and then there's a corner of the sand. You've got a little man it's casting a shadow with a red hat. It's a
sandcastle with a flag.
Okay, it's a sandcastle with a flag, but it also kind of looks like a man with a red hat. So
I'm all about that. It's all about interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
50% of art's interpretation.
Yeah, of course.
So then I just kept doing
Oh, that's also beautiful. Not that one. Those ones are not good.
So then I did like a mountain and stuff, and then I started doing these faces, which I quite liked.
There's something kind of cool about them.
And so they're talking, and
oh, I see. Smart.
Yeah, and like more beach scenes, and
all these pretty.
All these beach scenes were like just popping off. People were loving them, and then like these faces just weren't selling at all.
No, that's.
It got to the point where I had 3 of them and just no one was buying them.
Yeah.
And then I made this one in the middle here that was like talking about how they're not selling, and then they sell, and then they go back to like not selling, and then so I made this one, which is a copy of my first one, my first beach scene with the sandcastle.
Wow.
But I just
the
wrote
artist truly losing his mind.
Yeah, I was like, just take what you want then.
I definitely had the temptation out of like anger at times to just make my art incredibly like specific to the situation that this guy was struggling with.
Yeah.
And there was one time in the final act where the same guy kept coming in and hating like everything I was doing. So I just painted him and made him really ugly.
Yeah.
That was the only time I indulged.
I think that was a fun part of this game.
Yeah, sure.
So I just like, it's fun how the game drives you to a point where you're like, okay, fine, whatever. This was another one, just like, so I just kept doing beach scenes for ages, and then I started doing plants.
Oh wow, so some still life. Beautiful. These are actually genuinely pretty impressive.
And then like all I did was plants for a while.
I mean, I suppose you are like a drawing person, so it's
Yeah.
it's also pretty good. That one's
but,
good. I like the shadow on that plant pot. He's showing me more pictures of
Thanks,
plants.
man. And then like more of this stuff. So I had beaches, the faces, and the plants, and then it all came together.
Oh,
with like a final thing.
that one's nice too.
A final thing that like I really liked. It was a self-portrait of this guy.
That's funny.
And like that sold for loads of money, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done with this game. And so this was the self-portrait, and it's just a combination of the beaches, the plants, and the faces.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
And like that sold, and I'm like, okay, I'm so done. Like I was defeated after that. I was fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, that was my so I sort of went for trying to create work that I was happy with as someone who comes from like an arty background.
Yeah, sure.
So it was like quite stressful almost. Once you've finished a piece and you're like, okay, fuck, what am I doing now? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it had that sort of work sense, like I was actually working.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of, I guess you haven't really paid much of it, but it reminded me of Papers, Please in some way.
Yeah.
And that you're sort of like pumping this stuff out, and it sort of gets monotonous in a way, but you're still kind of enjoying it in the way that work kind of goes. Mm. You're sort of repeating these processes, but like also there is something satisfying about the general act of doing it.
Yeah.
I was the other thing I was thinking about when I was playing it was I would happily play a sequel to this game, but because the things, not that they were missing in the game, but the things that I feel like they could definitely expand on. And this is me being a bullshit armchair developer, so I apologize. But did you ever play that thing that Google released, which is like this like neural AI guy that we basically just, it would tell you to draw something and then it would guess what it was by the drawing. So it's kind of like draw something.
I heard about it.
But it was just an AI.
Never did it.
Yeah, so it would just say like cat, and then you draw a cat, and it would guess if it was a cat or not. And it learned over like millions of people playing it basically. And I think they just ended up using it to like draw emojis, which is great. Anyway, so if they could like steal that tech and put it in this game, so like
it'd be really cool.
So then people would be like, oh, that's a terrible boat, or something along those lines. That would be cool. The other thing that I felt would be a really interesting sort of examination of the art world is it's missing any sense of competitiveness. It's missing like, so you sort of this artist exists in like a void. So these people are coming in and saying, "Oh, this kind of looks like a rip-off of something else I've seen," or they're saying, "Oh, I've seen better," or something like that. But you don't have anything to compare it to, so you have no real idea like what the art scene is at the time, or anything like that. So I was thinking they could do like, they could have some multiplayer, like asynchronous maybe, where like at some point when you're painting, maybe the garage next to you opens up, and someone else who's like played a session, it just like replays their session, so you
that
can
would be
see what
really
they're painting.
cool.
And then you have like some like, it doesn't necessarily have to be competition, but you have something to compare it to. And you can rip off their art if it sells well, if you see it sells well, or you can just see what they're doing. I feel like that's something they could explore.
That'd be great to
like
see
another
like
sequel.
people walk past your art and then into your neighbours, pick it up, be like, I love this.
Yeah.
And then whoosh, straight past you.
Or like if your friend was playing at the same time, they would like pop up and they'd play like paint next to you. Like that'd be really cute.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game would definitely work with some human interaction, because obviously when it's just these people determining like the art, it lacks a bit in ways, because you know they're not working off emotion but code or whatever it is.
I think the fact that they're not working off emotion makes it interesting in its own way, though. Like trying to understand the sort of logical systems that it's coming to decide that this thing you've done is more valuable than the other thing you've done.
Yeah.
And it at least felt like consistent. for the
Yeah.
most part, I found, which is pretty impressive. Like, I found that I could figure out, for the most part, what it is that maybe the people would want, which I guess is kind of not how art works, but at the same time is interesting in itself.
I think it's definitely good that they use time as one of those things, so that it forces you to be more considerate about your pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can't just sploop them out. 'Cause, I mean, at the start, I also think I would have liked. I think it was cool how you did have to keep on top of your finances, because I found after 2 or 3 paintings had sold, I didn't really ever have to think about finances.
Yeah, for sure. And that doesn't change no matter how far you get, really.
Yeah,
Because the amount they pay for your paintings goes up exponentially for each act anyway. So
yeah, and I think, and you can't spend your money, but
No.
I don't know if it's. I saw the achievements suggested this game has different endings.
yeah, it does.
So maybe does money reflect that? It must do. Is
So,
that all it
my-
goes off?
My understanding of the way the endings work is the game, it decides what kind of artist you are. So you might be, what I was just I don't know if I was a commercial artist, but I was at least wealthy and successful, and the goal of Passpartout, it wasn't my goal, but the game decided that the goal of him was to make money from his art.
Okay.
Weird. And so the game ended with a big gold statue and then all my artwork on display.
Oh really? It showed it all.
It showed some of the older stuff I'd done,
Cool.
in a gallery. But I know that I've seen it doing more this. You're a successful classical paintist, or you are a successful starving artist, or you are a a modernist paintist. It decides. Somehow it decides that that's what your artwork was about, and that's what you did, and that's how you succeeded or failed, or blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Why not?
I kind of wanted, so I tried to play it again to see if I could get to a different ending, but I just couldn't paint any more paintings. By the end of Act 3, I painted my my Starbucks coffee cup from the morning. I was just so out of ideas.
Yeah.
It's just and also it obviously it removes all the upgrades, so I had to go back to using my mouse instead of the guiding tool, which
The
was
nice
a
tool.
real pain.
Yeah.
But it's a cool game. I
sense.
really like it. I really liked
Yeah,
it.
it's cool. I think, and again, I think this game would be most interesting in seeing how different people play this game, because it's about creating art, and it's pretty much an
Yeah.
expression of that person.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I want to see what other people do, which is I think why it's a super good YouTube game to do playthroughs with, because single eps, people do a thing and you're ha ha ha. That's what they did. Blah blah. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know if I have anything else to say about this game, apart from one thing that I found super annoying, and the reason why I had to swap to a Mac. The fact that you can't go back and see all your old paintings, I think is such a shame. It should just save all of them for you, at least 100 back, and you should be able to just go to a gallery in the main menu and look at them all.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they weren't in your Steam files or something,
Ooh.
because it must be saving them, because it shows a lot of them at the end. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised if they weren't
That would be cool.
all the way over there. Yeah, I have no idea where this stuff went. I don't know where it went.
I'll tell you what we can talk about is how
Yeah.
nuts it is
Oh, I found them.
that Windows. I just have no idea how to
Screenshot?
navigate those files.
Well, when you take screenshots, Steam shows them to you when you quit the game afterwards, right?
Through Steam?
Yeah, Steam's
Steam
just oh,
screenshots?
you took all these screenshots. What do you want to do with them?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
it does that on Mac as well.
Cool. Yeah, I just used the Mac one. The Shift Command 3 or 4.
I am sharing screen.
Let me see.
Let's see what we got in here.
Hey, there he is.
All right, so that painting on the left is my first painting.
Oh, I like it.
Um,
It's cool.
it's
the
mostly
people-
pink with an eyeball.
With a squiggly eyebrow that's looking through like a wisp of hair, and between Y it's like a big nose.
Honestly, the thing I enjoyed more was just
10 out
naming
of 10.
paintings than actually painting. It was my experience, but that's probably because I'm more of a word man than a draw man.
Yeah, makes
there
sense.
we go. There's a mattering. There's a nudie one there on the left.
Some boobs.
That's the one on the right. There is like a vagina-y type thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nude stuff going on. This one here is like that was supposed to be like, I called it meat, but it's supposed to be like a side shot of a man's body. So that's his belly there, and that's his. There's a lot of skin going on over here.
There's a lot of skin. Yeah, a lot of skinny colours.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the pink, and then people kept telling me they hated pink, and it was driving me nuts.
Right.
These are some people lying down. That's time play 3HR there.
Oh, cool, dude. Let's make that the thing.
I gave these a couple different goes because I couldn't do this well.
That's so smart. You're so smart.
This is another one, a bit cleaner.
No, the other one's perfect.
Okay.
So it's just the album artwork.
Yeah, I started doing like artsy stick figures. So this is a man kneeling and praying.
Yeah, I see that.
And this is probably my favorite one I did. And it's like, I can't describe it. It's just pinks and blues. I just like the colors, I think. There I painted my bed there on the right. And on the left is a lady. And the middle is a man, I guess. And that's everything, I guess. That's all I got.
I liked your first set a lot.
Yeah, the
ones.
pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, my early work is my best work, let's be honest. Anyway, I guess that's Passpartout.
Yeah. Fun.
I like it. I would recommend it to anyone, actually. I think
Give it a
anyone
go.
could get some fun out of it.
Yeah, I think this would be a great game for kids.
They should probably put it on iPads.
Yeah, agreed. But this would be like a perfect game for school children. You know, when you have like a computer lesson and just miraculously you finish your work and you have like 20 minutes to just play on the computer.
Yeah.
This game would be like, it'd fit in so well into that.
What do you, because obviously time has passed since we were children. What do you think those games are now that are on computers? Because for us it was like Theme Hospital and...
Really?
I had
Derby the
Theme
Dragon.
Hospital.
Derby the Dragon?
What's Derby the Dragon?
Derby the Dragon
I've never
was
heard
so,
of Derby the Dragon before.
so sick. It was like a point and click adventure game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Of like a little green dragon, and it was the bee's knees. Yeah, maybe I'll suggest that one week. Because that's like the school childhood game that we played.
You think you could play that for 3 hours?
I'm just gonna.
Okay, better question. You think
I'm gonna
I
throw
could
this
play
at
it
you.
for 3 hours?
My abandonware rated it 4.8 out of 5. Whoosh.
Wowzers.
So looks pretty
Wowzers. All right. Okay, so we've done it. We nailed it. We've this one is in the bag.
good. Yeah, I don't know what kids would play these days though, because like. Are you talking about like games that were installed on the computer by the school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like what
Yeah.
kind of games are they preloading
Honestly,
on Windows nowadays?
maybe like Minecraft.
Oh yeah, they probably just have Edu Minecraft. They have like an education version of Minecraft.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what the difference is.
Education Minecraft.
Yeah, I guess that's a great one.
Education edition.
It's kind of all you need. That's like everything for a kid.
That's fascinating. Yeah, and probably like other buildy games. You can classroom collaborate. Oh, cool. Looks fun. And I bet the kids love it.
I bet they do.
Good stuff. Good app.
All right, man. You got any suggestions for me, or shall we announce that when the episode starts next week?
Oh, I should have got one lined up, but I didn't. Let me think, unless I can...
Can you come up with it in the next 10 seconds? Because I'm aware we're running over time here.
Nah.
Okay, so let's
Nah.
just
No,
let's
I
just-
cannot.
let's just wing it.
Okay, I'll tell you in the next scene.
This has been Time Played 3HR. This podcast goes up every single Sunday
Yes,
on
sir.
iTunes, SoundCloud, and drumroll, please, Lochie.
Yeah, dugga.
I got it onto the other popular things. So it's on Stitcher, which is apparently the third most popular podcast thing.
Cool, you the boy.
And TuneIn, which is
Cool.
another popular one. And I think Google Play is a little bit harder, but I'm working on that one as well.
You the man, and I'm working on YouTube.
And eventually you'll put these up on YouTube.
And I think this episode will be great because you'll be able to see our paintings. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, you definitely
and
should do that. I'll
also,
send them to you.
once I figure out how to make these video files smaller, I'll be able to put them up.
I'm pretty sure I can help you with that, because that sounds like that's what you said was absurd, but we'll figure it out.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure it's not that hard. I just need to do it.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool. Good.
I'll speak to you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.